talk us through how you made contact with Duke and how you got to the point of signing in within a couple of days?
Yeah, look, David's someone we had on our radar during the summer. He's obviously been in the NBA and the G League for the last 4 years, and someone, as these players become available and their NBA, they get cut from NBA training camps. Obviously, we were scouring the league for that and looking for a replacement. And when he became available, there was interest. It was something we were excited about, and we agreed to terms, and we're excited to get him down here next week.
Are you surprised by how quickly you were able to get the deal done?
Not really. Like, I think once players get cut from an NBA camp and they're not going to return to the G League, for them it's to turn their attention internationally, and for a club like us, I think it's a great opportunity for his first test going overseas.
So it looks like the time on when you came Mason and him getting cut in the NBA, it looks really close. Were you aware that he is going to be available, and is that the reason why is that contributing to the reasons for Kenny Mason?
We weren't aware. Like, there was always the notion that he was going to the G League after going to camp with Phoenix if he didn't make their final roster. And so obviously, like I said, he's someone that, we'd inquired about over the last summer and wasn't available. But when we went through our list of who could we potentially bring in, and his name was brought up, it was something that we jumped on pretty quickly.
Why did you say yes this time in the past?
Yeah, look, he's been on two-way contracts, and now he's done his 4 years of service in the NBA, which means there's no longer the ability to sign a two-way contract. So it's either a guaranteed you make the roster or you're back in the G League. And so for him, he's done 4 years with 3 different organizations now. And I think for him, he's excited to turn his career and go overseas. And I think he's in a great spot to come to a situation like we've got here in Perth and kind of start his career.
How tricky is it to get this kind of thing right? We saw a couple of years ago, obviously, Bryce come after someone else had gone. How important is it to get this decision right?
Oh, it's very important. And, we put a lot of time into it, gathering background information, intel about character. More so, we know what they are on the court. Obviously, you never know until you get him here in your system. Like, he hasn't played internationally yet, so adjusting to FIBA rules and all of that. But bringing in a high-quality character is really important for this group. And it's not an exact science, so that, but until we get him here and get him acclimated, and it'll take him some time. There's got to be some patience around it, but we're really thrilled that he's chosen Perth, and we think he's going to have a big impact on our group as the season goes along.
How did you go about assessing his character? Is there a specific sort of character in mind you need to fill for this group at this stage?
Yeah, a lot of it's talking to sources around him. So, he's been to 3 different NBA organizations, played at college. John and myself have a lot of different contacts over there. So, yeah, we do a lot of background on players when we bring them in. And, we've got a group here that's been together for 3 months. So making sure that he will fit this group and this group will embrace him is really important. And especially bringing in a guy after we've let someone go after 5 games was even more important. We feel really comfortable about David, and recently married, bringing his wife down. I think they're going to enjoy Perth, obviously, in the summer, and no doubt he's going to impact us on the floor.
And did you still have some contractual obligations to Jones? Did that restrict at all when you sort of cast the net for who you could bring in?
There is. Those conversations are behind closed doors, but no, not really. Like, obviously, when we parted ways with Mason, we were always going to replace him. It was just a matter of when and when the right player became available.
Everyone was bullish on Mason when he arrived around his ability and his character and
Yeah.
his ability to fit with them. If it doesn't work, you're up now bullish on the next guy. Why are you confident this time it will work out?
Yeah, I think we are. I mean, Mason came in, and I think came in and played really well off in one preseason game, and then just the fit with where we're at as a group in terms of who we have on the court, just trying to find a rhythm. It just wasn't working for us. I think David's skill set's a little different in terms of probably a bit better of an athlete in transition, and he's a high-level defender. And so for that, we think that's going to fit in well with the group we have. We've got a front court that we think is one of the best, if not the best, in the NBL with Joe, Christian, Dylan, and then, guys like Jesse and David Aquera and Noah. And so fitting in the guards around that and kind of, I guess, working with a new player into that rotation, we feel like David's going to come in. And no doubt, people have to be patient. It's not going to come in and come out and score 35 points in his first game. But over the course of the season, we think our versatility, the ability for us to lean more into our defense, which has vastly improved this year, holding multiple teams to 70, low 80s. We really like the identity of this group. And obviously, it's like we said, it's not an exact science, but we have a lot of faith that David's going to fit in well with our current roster construct.
Been carnage throughout all across the league in the first 5 6 weeks. Is it harder now
Yeah, there has been a lot of guys cut early in the NBL. I think, one, the standard of the league's risen, and I think teams aren't accepting players that aren't performing, you know, and not fitting. And so to do it earlier rather than waiting, and obviously the timing with NBA cuts happening, like, probably makes sense to do it earlier. Yeah, I'm not sure why exactly it's happened that way, but I do think it shows the league's improving. Every team's trying to win. So you got to get it right, and if you're not getting it right early and you can see that, and it's not a clear, like, you're going to have a chance to win it, then make the change early and try and get it right.
So if he's arriving on Monday, what's a realistic time frame for his playing, and what work will he need to do to get up to sort of match stage?
Yeah, so the hope is he arrives Monday morning. You know, every player that comes in has to pass a physical and a medical. Once that happens, he'll join the team on the road trip. There's the likelihood we play in Hobart against Tassie on Wednesday. And then we travel to Melbourne to play Southeast on Sunday. So one of those two games, or even both, he could suit up for. But, you know, the likelihood is without much practice, you're probably going to be limited with that Tasmania game.
You played for the Providence Friars.
Yep.
You played for the Providence Friars.
Yep.
Next.
Yeah, I knew. Obviously, yeah. There's a yeah. Played at the same college. No, like, well, I think we all know that, you know, Bryce is Bryce, and there's no way that David's coming in there thinking that, and we definitely don't think that. He's a completely different style of player. But yeah, obviously there's a link there, and you know, David grew up in Rhode Island, so he's growing up around there, knowing who Bryce was, and, you know, obviously he's known about the Perth Wildcats through that as well.
Was there any fallout at all from that couple of weeks ago? So please explain from the league or Basketball Australia or agree?
Yeah, there has been. I think we'll have something maybe later today from the league on this. As far as we're concerned, like, our players did the right thing. Like, obviously they weren't instigating it. Disappointing it happened, heat of the moment. We're not too worried. I think the guys are just focused on Illawarra.
So you're not expecting any sanctions or anything there?
Not on our side, not at all.
Did you know what started it? What caused it? What did Admiral Schofield say to Blackmore and sort of kick off and off?
Yeah, I think there was just general talk through the game, and then obviously frustration from their side. You know, we obviously played really well and had a strong win, and I think yeah, frustration, emotions just boiled over in the handshake line. It's unfortunate. Luckily, it didn't get out of hand. I think it was really good that the staffs and the players split it up pretty quick, because it could have got ugly. But yeah.
You're comfortable with how the Wildcats players?
Yeah, really comfortable. I think you can see our guys have each other's backs. I think this is a really close group. I mean, Joe was there protecting his teammate, and then we had all our staff and players trying to pull everyone apart and diffuse the situation.
If anyone was to get into life, probably Joe as a third, like in, would you have any, what concern would you have if his name is on a charge at the end of the day?
Yeah, obviously we'll have to see if anything comes out of it and then assess that and the severity of it. But I guess we'll come to that if it happens.
I'm sure you want to send David to Tasmania first. I would say that it's raining.
And it's raining now, exactly. Cool, thanks guys.